Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, February 9th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of charts and how it can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I first want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here in a couple of days. So if you like what you see as I go through the content and you want to learn more about the tool of charts, how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can click. If you're watching on my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click on. So like I said, if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Now, before I get to the stocks, a couple quick clarification points. First off, the market is still open, so you're not crazy. This candle is going to be moving around, and this price over here will be moving. I just like to do these videos when the market's still open for a little bit of time because sometimes we can capture some really interesting price movement. And then next, we will be using the 30-minute time frame. So if we're a beginner to all this, all that means is that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So first stock here, ticker symbol PTON, Peloton. Been blowing up the headlines. And did this yesterday. And at the very end, when I talked about it, I threw in that red line right there as resistance. And good thing I did, because you can see right there, broke through that level and then never really looked back until hitting 40, and then a little bit of a minor pullback there. But point being, for anybody that watched yesterday's video and played that breakout right there, a big congratulations to you. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines as they've served their purpose for now. But as far as next key levels are concerned moving forward, let's change that. First key level of resistance now, and one of the newest levels I would put right there at that trend line, which is approximately right around, let's call it the $38 mark. So $38 will be that new, in technical jargon, trend line breakout point. And then for people that like to play more so the pullbacks, an interesting level of support sits right down there around the $35 mark. So keep an eye on that. But from an overarching standpoint, as far as a pattern is concerned, I'll just make this all one color. We have the resistance there. We have the support there. We have the big momentum move right there. If I put that golf hole down there to make it more visual, this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So Peloton's got the bull pennant pattern. Let's see how this one plays out over the next couple of days and see if the bulls can get another upside breakout. Next one here, SNAP Snapchat, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the previous video, so let me actually extend this over here. But the main dynamic is this green line, which was a level of support, was broken down below, and now it comes into play quite a bit actually for tomorrow, and this is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And given that the price recovered very nicely with the gap down, came back up to that area, and then has just been going sideways. So in other words, the price is consolidated right below that area of resistance. So while nothing is guaranteed, my core point here is that it's more than valid, it's more than plausible to think that if the price can't get a break up through 38, that break right there in and of itself could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure, because you know that there's going to be a bunch of people watching that level. So self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It's more than valid. Again, not guaranteed, but it's valid to think, and that the price could gain some momentum there. As far as the key level of support, that's going to be right here, that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, currently valid at, we'll just call it the $35 mark. But yeah, I think all eyes will be on that $38 mark, including mine. So let's see if the price can get the breakthrough it or not. Next one here, AMC, and what a very nice move today. No doubt about it. Things are looking shaky after basically Friday's bounce from last week had been completely wiped away. But now all of a sudden, a new bounce has happened. And the nice thing about this new bounce is, as I speak, and actually let me zoom this in a little bit. This is why I like to do these when the market's still open. You can see that this last 30 minutes here, as this candle continues to move around, but it is up above that pink line there, that 200-period moving average. So it's breaking out, but the big question mark moving forward is, can it maintain it? What do I mean? Well, look right here. You can see the price got up above that pink line, but ultimately could not maintain it, fell back below it. But this is a good question to be asking, because to even be able to answer or ask the question, can it maintain the level? Well, the price has first got to break above it in the first place, and that's what's happened here. So yes, the price has broken through that 200-period moving average, but that'll be, in my mind at least, the most important question moving forward is, okay, can the price stay above it? Can the price maintain that breakout level? And the current value of that 200-period moving average right there, you can see at $16.30. So in my mind, that's the key level. That's the key question to ask yourself, because if the price can stay above there, that gives more and more evidence that another breakout has happened. And if another breakout has happened, again, while that doesn't guarantee anything, it does make it more plausible that just that much more buying pressure could show up. Next one here, GME, basically the brother of AMC. I probably offended some people by calling them siblings, but regardless, the big dynamic here. Now, of course, that really irritated people, but GME has also shown a great move today, combined with good solid volume. But the level here, and going back to that idea of, the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecy, let's look at this right here. This general area of resistance right here at, let's call it the 118 mark. Generally speaking, so you can disagree and say, well, it's 119, it's 117. But generally speaking, you can see this level here has a huge track record of rejecting the price whenever it gets up to that area. So again, a lot of eyeballs are going to be watching that 118-ish level. And while that doesn't guarantee anything, it certainly makes it more than plausible from a self-fulfilling prophecy angle to think that if the price gets up there and breaks up through it, that break right there could create just that much more upside buying pressure. So 118, very, very interesting level. As I've said, it struggled here many times before, but who knows? Maybe the breakout is finally going to come, not necessarily on Wednesday, but over the next couple of days. So definitely keep a close eye on that dynamic. Next one here, SOPA, and I like this one just because it's given another very well-defined level, and also the price range down below $10, so a sub $10 stock here. But the dynamic here, which you've heard me say, is the idea of self-fulfilling prophecies right there at the $5 mark. You can see that this pullback here got pretty rough. I mean, from having the price be all the way up there to dropping all the way down there, that was a pretty big pullback. But to give credit where credit's due, at least it stopped pulling back and then essentially spent all afternoon long going sideways. Now, just because the price went sideways, does that mean that for sure guaranteed this pullback is over and that the price is getting ready to reverse back upwards? Of course not. No guarantees. But is it plausible? Is it at least a valid thought process to have to think that, maybe just maybe this pullback is done and maybe just maybe this thing is getting ready to show some signs of strength? Absolutely. But that, of course, brings about the question, well, how are you defining a sign of strength? And that's why I love charts, because it's easy for me to sit here and say words such as, hey, show sign of strength. But what does that even mean? But with charts, you can make that very visual. So what do I mean by sign of strength? Well, again, that's where this resistance comes into play, because if the price can get up to that resistance and then break up through it, in my mind, that's a nice sign of strength that makes it plausible to think that the price could gain that much more momentum. So if you like to play these pullback plays, if you like to play, this price range, then I definitely have this one on your watch list. Next one here, FB Facebook, and the bleeding just continues. Honestly, I didn't think this would drop to new lows again today. I thought, not necessarily that I thought it would explode upwards, but at least go sideways somewhat. But no, this thing just has continued to drop. Now, very interesting last 30 minutes, had some volume right there, but within the general context of things, the trend is still very clearly in the downwards direction. And I'm still very curious about that trend line right there. And in my mind, Facebook, it's going to have a good, worthwhile bounce. Now, I'm not saying a full-blown reversal, but Facebook is just too popular of a stock to just continue to bleed and bleed and bleed. Now, maybe I'm going to be wrong, and I'm going to just do videos, and before I know it, this thing's going to be at $50. But it just seems as though at some point, there's going to be some sort of consolidation and then a worthwhile bounce to the upside. And going back to the, well, how do you quantify showing signs of strength? Well, in this situation, that quote-unquote sign of strength is going to be getting up to that trend line and then breaking up through it, which as of now, the price isn't anywhere close. So it would not shock me at all to see this thing maybe bounce up and then roll back over. But so, keep your expectations in line with reality. I get it, the last 30 minutes was strong, but there's still a whole lot of work to do before even this trend line right there is broken. But Facebook, like I said, for the reasons of it's just such a popular stock, I want to keep it on the watch list just because in my mind, at some point, there is definitely going to be a very, very solid bounce on it. Next one here, VLDR, and this is one of my, as I call them, there can be opportunity in the ugly. And for you viewers, you've heard me say that before, but there's no doubt about this. This is a very ugly looking chart. To think that this thing gapped all the way up here and then from there has basically just drifted straight down. But you never know. And there's a spot here at this gap close location, which, of course, does not guarantee anything at 380, but it makes it plausible to think that, yeah, the price could come down here, close that gap, consolidate out, and then bounce upwards. Now, of course, not guaranteed to happen, so that's why risk management and stop losses matter. But it is totally a reasonable and plausible thought process to have. So, if, structuring a risk versus reward scenario, now, of course, that assumes that you are going to honor risk. You are going to honor stop losses. But if you can do that, then you could structure you can structure a very dynamic level. So point here being is that if you like to play these charts that are looking really, really ugly, but to be fair, are still in uptrends right here. I mean, if I can draw a trend line right there. So overall, there is still a bit of an uptrend right here. Now, if you think that the uptrend is totally destroyed, then of course you wouldn't even want to touch this one. But if you think that there's a chance that this uptrend could find some buyers down around this gap close location, then from a trading and a risk versus reward standpoint, you could structure yourself a nice little setup. So worth keeping an eye on. Next one, MNDT, and hopefully this becomes pretty apparent on why it would make a watch list, because this last part of the day was just crazy. Massive volume bar right here. and then it pulled back a little bit. So this is all just a question of, okay, was this a one-day wonder, or is this just the start of something bigger? As I alluded to earlier, in terms of being able to even ask these questions, well, think about it. Is this the start of something bigger? Well, something big needed to first happen in the first place, and we have that. Huge volume spike, price reacting nicely, now a bit of a pullback here, which has given us kind of a poor man's little bull flag there. But the idea here is that volume just came pouring in. It's pulled back a little bit. So worth at least keeping an eye on. To be fair, maybe this isn't. Maybe this is just a one-day wonder, and this thing is just going to drift back into oblivion. Completely possible. But that is a two-sided coin. The other side of the coin is maybe this is just a little temporary pullback, and then this thing is going to just continue to go bonkers over the next couple of days. You don't know. But what you do know is that something worthwhile did happen today, so it's at least worth keeping somewhere on your watch list. Next one here, PHUN, and check out the last 30 minutes. Absolutely bonkers, those final 30 minutes. Big move up. But what makes this the most interesting, I should know, check out where the price bounced today, right there at that green line, which I put in there in yesterday's video. So I'm not patting myself on the back, but I am patting charts, the tool technical analysis, which, you definitely need to have. And that's why hopefully you get signed up for that free class. But I mean, check that out. Literally bounced right off that green line that I put. If you think I just put it there beforehand, I'm not offended. I realize I could be a stranger to you. All you got to do is go back in the video archive and watch the previous video, and you'll see how I put that green line right there. So a classic example. And so congratulations if anybody actually bought that pullback. Wow, you got paid very nicely. But moving forward, what makes this interesting is check out right where the price basically stopped. Right there at this former area of resistance. So this is not a great discovery on my part. I assure you, everybody has noticed this dynamic. So we definitely have a ton of eyeballs watching this 345-ish area and saying and wondering, okay, is a breakout coming? And while no guarantees, is it valid to think that if a breakout does occur, that there could be a bunch of people buying just because, hey, I'm a breakout player. Hey, that's breaking out. Hey, it's time for me to buy. Absolutely. So if you like to play this price range, and if you like to play breakouts, then a super, super interesting situation here due to that final 30 minutes and the big move back upwards. So we'll see if the price can get a break or not on Wednesday. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and this one will definitely mean those of you, more to those of you that have watched the past videos. But for those of you that have, I've been talking about two areas of resistance, and check it out. Look how the price continues to respect that red line there that I've been talking about over the past few videos. But now the kicker here is look where that pink line is, the other level that I've been talking about. Because it's a moving average, it has now moved its way down to essentially being right at the same value of that red line. And let's just call it $930. So $930 in my mind is a very, very key breakout point where if that level falls, then I think there's a very realistic chance that it could, bare minimum, get up to $950, up around that area right there, if not even higher than that. May not happen in one day, might not happen at all, but again, from a plausibility standpoint, does it at least make sense to suggest that? Yes, because as of now, there's going to be so many people watching that trend line. There's going to be so many people watching that 200 period moving average. So you got to think that, and shorts included, right? Shorts are potentially going to be putting stop losses up around this area, which would create just that much more buying. So from a breakout standpoint, $930, an extremely fascinating dynamic here, mainly because of that, how that pink line now has moved itself down and is basically right at that level. As far as supports are concerned, still have that key level there at the $900 mark, which I talked about yesterday. And you can see the price did find some support down there around it. And then, of course, 880, although 880 is not totally relevant right now. But yeah, $930, super interesting level to keep an eye on. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, to find great trades, then get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be in a couple days, Thursday, February 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So get signed up by clicking those links down below. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these videos, if you like this format and would like for me to continue to make these videos, then do two things for me, please. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things go a long way in telling me you enjoy these top 10 videos. As long as I know that's the case, then I will continue to put them together. So again, get signed up for the class if you want to learn more about how to use this tool properly to build consistency. Hopefully I'll see you on Thursday. Everybody take care. Have a good one.